Hello, and welcome to Into the Light podcast. I'm your host, Edina Mauvana. Today we have Lee Davy. Lee is an inspirational author, creator, speaker, retreat host, breathwork specialist, and leader in global health. He's the co-founder of Connected Community, co-steward of the Unified Alliance, founder of 5D Breathwork, and co-creator of the Breathwork Atrium. He has worked with clients one-on-one and with groups all over the world for more than 20 years. Lee shares his voice, story, journey, passion, and compassion to support others in their journeys, should they ask for assistance, to fully understand and embrace their higher selves beyond all illusion. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Lee. I love that. That was a lot of information there. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Edina. It's my pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. That was a lot of great information of the work that you've done. It sounds like, for over 20 years, you've been in this space of, helping others, leading people on their journey to their fulfillment of their highest self. Can you tell me a little bit more? The thing that caught off for me and that I see you post a lot is concepts around 5D breath work. I mean, I've heard of breath work, in terms of like the importance around meditation practices and things like that. But can you tell me a little bit about, what your core of your work around the 5D and the breath work really looks like for you and your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, my journey, I've every time I kind of find a piece of my puzzle, and that's really the way I look at things, is what are the pieces, and how can I actually optimize how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, my energy levels, and that sort of thing. And when I find a piece or a tool, I do my best to really throw myself into it and understand it, and embody it to then be able to share with others. And that was it with the breath. It was about 8 years ago, I had a friend take me through a session, and I just fell in love with it, and I started playing with it. And in my sessions, I'll tell people to kind of lose themselves in the process, because when we start breathing fully diaphragmically, with intention, it's like the thinking mind, the conscious mind, begins to kind of go quiet and go dormant, right? And so
Yeah.
all those thoughts of who we think we are, that it's like when we can really quiet and settle that down, then we can come to a deeper understanding of who we actually are. And
Yeah.
so um, the way I set it up is we're literally just going to play with the breath. We're
Right.
I'm actually breathing with my clients and with my groups. So those are some of the subtle differences between the 5D system and some of the others. I throw in and weave in tonal activations, and there's a little bit of guided meditation. So but the whole thing, as we're really engaging and breathing cyclically, what's happening is a whole cascade of beautiful neurophysiological benefits. We're lowering carbon dioxide, and so we're lowering inflammation automatically. We're
Mm.
an alkaline, oxygen-rich environment. Our cells are starting to recycle and repair and rejuvenate. Proteins are recycling. So there's this whole beautiful cascade of health benefits that comes from just taking the time to and it doesn't even have to be that long. Like if you do 10, 15, 20 minutes of breath work every single day, you're feel so much happier, so much less stress. You're going to create mitogenesis, which is the energy production within the cells. So there's just there's so many benefits with it, and it literally is life. We can't everything else we could go without for days, maybe weeks, but can't go without the breath very long.
Right. It's our connection to our living self. And you mentioned it was about 8 years ago. What made you fall in love with this work? You said you fell in love with it. Like, what was it that that really brought you into this? And how did you kind of develop this love for the breath process?
Well, so again, it's I've been seeking for tools, and I look at it as a big puzzle. Like, what are the pieces that will allow me to optimize the mind, body, spirit
Mm.
aspects of, kind of who I am in this realm, in this dimension. And it's, been nutrition, movement, supplementation. And then when I found the breath, the first session I remember, because what happens when you do the cyclical nature, or the cyclical style, and then you do a hold, what's happening is something called hypoxia. So the cells become super oxygenated, basically.
Okay.
Within the system is no longer free floating. It actually binds to your red blood cells.
Oh, wow.
In that state, what happens is lightheadedness. You can have like tingling sensations, freezing even of the ears, the lips,
Yeah.
something known as tetany, which
Tenny, yeah, in your hand. I've had that in my hands.
fingers and hands actually freeze
Yeah,
up.
that's
And
what happened to me when I do it.
my kind of body started to seize up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is awesome. I love this. And then obviously learning all of the, kind of the science behind what's actually happening in the body. It's like, this is going to be a staple in my self practice, and really.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's like I'll do my best to really, throw myself into it and understand it, from as many different perspectives, dimensions as possible, and then begin to offer it and say, okay, this has been a tool and a piece of my puzzle. Maybe it can be something for you as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I've done a little bit of breath work with myself, and I did experience that tetany feeling. And it's like it does give you the sense that, oh, this is actually doing something, because you have a, physical response in your body. So I love that. And you also have connected it a little bit into, nutrition and also like healing of physical afflictions or ailments. Like what kind of real healing experiences have you had that maybe your clients have gone through, or where they've been able to, heal certain, medical issues? Has that happened with you at all in this process?
For sure, for sure. And it's I look at it as optimization, and
Okay.
I mean, everybody's got a different starting point. But if you look at, um, kind of everything is frequency.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's like water carries a frequency, our food carries a frequency, our thoughts, our speech. So if we kind of just shift perspectives a little bit and say, okay, if everything's frequency and I can optimize all the frequencies that are around me, that are going into me, and I really start to hone, what I'm thinking and how I'm speaking, and, structuring my water so that it's more bioavailable, and then I can really start to impact my, this cellular structure that I'm living in, right?
Wow.
And the cells start to optimize and really essentially vibrate and communicate at a much higher level, and
Mm.
so we're really able to go into this space where, and this is something I weave in with the breath again, is, if we're able to liberate old kind of stagnant energy, and it's proven, there's something called the microtubules within the cells, these little hair-like structures or fibers. It's almost like scaffolding of the cells, and that's what actually holds on to like density or old energy or old patterns or, thoughts, and when we use the breath and when we're moving and we're eating the right foods, it's like we're able to literally liberate that energy, so the microtubules vibrate at a higher rate of frequency. And so it's like our cells are communicating more efficiently, more effectively. They're transporting and moving waste products out more efficiently and effectively. And we're literally, the cells and the microtubules emit light. So we're literally
What?
more light, right? The faster
Yeah.
these things vibrate. So, you know, I guess the kind of the long way around is, yeah, absolutely. And we have so much more power and control than we've ever been taught. And it's like this idea, if we can add all of these pieces, if we can really, hone our thoughts and our feelings and optimize all of these frequencies that are coming into us, all of a sudden we can really change at a cellular, foundation, and really begin to not only vibrate at a higher frequency, but just optimize, how we're thinking, how we're feeling, and the, I mean, the benefits are just so incredible,
Yeah.
and the more pieces that you add to your puzzle, the more clear the picture becomes of who you really are and what you're truly capable of.
This is amazing because you're talking, frequency, vibration, increasing our light energy that we're able to absorb into our physical bodies, and it's really taking, concepts around. I talk about the ascension process, and I have my book Ascension is the New Attraction, and this is where I get asked the most, like, oh, what is ascension? And I kind of give a brief little, oh, it's about improving our vibrational frequency and taking on more light. But people really want to know, like, what does that even mean? Right? Like, so this is great because, you are basically then also talking about how we can bring in more energy in the ascension process. Is that right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Another way to look at it is, biohacking is a huge, term these days,
Oh.
and actually
Hmm.
just from a place. So, you're using all the tools we mentioned, and then you're throwing in an ice bath. So you're creating more proteins, within the body from that. There's a device called a biocharger, which literally like allows you to like it's got all these different programs that will send out essentially electricity to bring more coherence into the cells. There's something
Yes.
somatics that as the it's basically sand on a plate, and you're sending different sound frequencies, and the higher the pitch goes of the sound, the more intricate and the more coherence in these designs that form on the plate. So if you think of doing that to and within our cells, and our cells are primarily made up of water, they can be structured. We can bring more coherence to them. We can bring more, like a higher vibration. And the more that we use all of these external technologies and tools, and then hone all of our internal technologies and tools from our thoughts to our words to using breath work, meditation, mindfulness. It's like we're literally supercharging and bringing more coherence to the cellular structure within
Wow.
which spirits reside.
Yeah, that's amazing because I've seen, I've also done a little bit of that. Like you alluded to the cold plunging, people are dumping themselves in ice water. And I did try that. And, I didn't really have an understanding of what it's doing, but it does feel like it's, getting rid of the lower density. You kind of have like this heightened sense of, tingliness after. So, I've been seeing more and more of these practices. I didn't really, I don't know too much about the whole field of biohacking, but that's very interesting. And the other thing that I've seen you post about was you're also doing things about dark, like having a darkness retreat. So it sounds like a lot of sensory deprivation type of stuff. So can you tell me a little bit more about how those elements play, and like why would we want to be in darkness for extended periods of time in this process?
Absolutely. And again, I feel like there are so many tools. There are so many different types of coaching and thought processes, and stillness, or being able to come to a place of deep stillness is, you know a number of different practices and organizations that I've been with and learned from. That is such a powerful key to all of this. And there's all this talk about the difference between the Newtonian model of reality, where we're using our senses to perceive our reality, and then we kind of give our power away to that person, thing, or circumstance, and that causes us to think certain thoughts and feel certain feelings, and then that causes us to take certain actions. And then there's this idea of a quantum model of reality, where I'm going to turn all that off, and I'm going to choose what I'm going to think about, and I'm going to choose how I'm going to feel. And every time I think that thought, I'm creating and strengthening neurology in my brain. And every time I feel that feeling, I'm changing the physiology and releasing chemistry into my body. So we can actually produce physical evidence that a result that maybe we're not getting from the Newtonian model of reality is possible from the quantum model of reality. And
Mm.
that's when we start to really walk into it. So this whole idea of taking our power back and using and leveraging all of these tools is, it's such an empowering perspective, and we then become the kind of the creators of anything we desire. But
Yes.
one of the keys to doing that is to shut everything else off and to come to such a deep level of stillness. And I've been watching people reporting on their near death experiences.
Oh, yeah. I saw some of that.
And I actually was on a call with a guy a couple weeks ago, and he's like, the place I reside in my daily life is this place of complete stillness. He's like,
Mm,
if I'm supposed to do something, I go over to a park bench, I sit with my eyes closed, and he's like, people come up to me and they're like, I'm supposed to talk to you. Like, I don't know, what this is. And so that's how he works. And so for me, having done the darkness last year, for about 10 days after the retreat, I felt like I was in that place of stillness. I felt like I was in that place of complete freedom and present moment awareness.
wow.
And so things just lined up for me. Things happened so easily for me. You know,
Wow.
from signing up new clients to just people showing up in my life, or resources or money, or different things like that. So I didn't have to effort. I didn't have to drag my body through space and experience time for things to come to me, and I think that Newtonian model of reality, we're so programmed that we got to work so hard and we got to run so fast and we got to do so much. And it's like, if we can just block all that out and come to a place of complete stillness, right? And taking all of that energy back that's been, dispersed on the people, things, circumstances in our
Right.
lives, and all of a sudden we have so much more energy and power to heal ourselves, to manifest, what we want, or to even be still enough to know that, okay, I thought my next step or the direction I was supposed to go was this way, but now that I can actually hear, I'm told I'm supposed to go this way, that this is my next step.
Wow.
So coming to that place of stillness, we can really hear what's in our highest interest and be able to choose that much easier than with.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like it's you're unlocking the secrets behind how the attraction process works, and leading it all back to what we keep hearing, which is the themes of meditation, stillness, connecting to the higher self consciousness. And so this is like very real world explanations in the for how those things actually are working and activated in our life. So I love that, because so many people say these things, but we have no idea like how it actually works. We just kind of leave it to the divine, or source energy, or God, or whatever we call it. So this is like unlocking the secrets of the universe. I love it. And so you also talk about this, mind, body, spirit connection, and how it leads to this ultimate freedom process. So it's like, I maybe you could tell us a little bit more. How is that true freedom in your words? You've said a little bit about the freedom process.
Mm, yeah, and again, this all is just super related to my own personal journey, and at 13 years old, I kind of was the first time I remember starting to ask questions,
Hmm.
and played hockey. I think I was on skates at 3 years old, and then
Oh,
started weight training super young, and then supplementation. So it's like every piece was like, okay, like I feel a little bit better. What else is there? And my mind's clear. Okay, what else is there? And I truly believe that we're infinite beings having we're spirits having a physical experience. Um, and so like it's with each step I kind of unlocked and opened up more to the idea that, okay, like there's more. I'm able to optimize. I'm able to reach higher, expand what my perceived box was that I put around myself. And that journey has led me into this idea of what is, and asking the question, what is true freedom? And for me, after everything that's happened over the last couple of years, when the world kind of went upside down, and um, I ended up in Tulum, Mexico. That's where I am now.
oh, wow. Okay.
A little over a year ago, I started, I really wanted to get honest with myself. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not free. I'm pretending that I'm free. If I'm going to get really honest and look in the mirror, I'm hiding in Mexico.
Mm,
Because if I couldn't go anywhere and do anything, so long as I intend no harm against another being, um, then I'm not truly free. We're not truly free. And if we can't show up in a situation and be authentically us without, oh, like I probably shouldn't say this because I'm going to offend this, or what are they going to think, or I should probably do this because they might be expecting that, or what are my expectations? So there's kind of a tiered level of being able to show up authentically, raw, whole, true, without the perceived persona or without fitting into societal roles or expectations. And then there's travel and taxation and all this stuff with this system that we've kind of been coerced into without full disclosure. And so for me, true freedom is being able to operate and show up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically free,
mm,
travel anywhere I choose, do like be able to make money from services that I'm providing and have donations come in from that money without having some external perceived authority figure, which are they were only ever supposed to be public servants, uh, come in and say you owe us this, or you have to give us this, or this isn't right, or we're making the rules. And it's like, wait a minute, if I take radical self responsibility for all of my own thoughts, feelings, and actions, continue on what I call the sacred self journey and bringing all these tools together to really hone and align the mind, body, spirit
mhm.
aspects of me and set up these lawful protective mechanisms as well as align myself to the higher laws. And the foundational law is the law of love and what is true. And then we've got the universal laws, which provide all of creation with a mathematical framework. Essentially everything we see in our world comes from these laws. So these
Right.
laws are operating in our lives anyways. Why aren't we tuning into them and looking at them and saying, you know what, today I'm going to do my best to really align with and understand the law of cause and effect. Or I'm going to really operate from the law of love and what is true. And I'm going to feel everything and I'm going to allow everything.
Mm,
So really aligning to these higher laws, and then the laws of the soul, which
okay.
should allow all emotion to pass through us freely,
Hmm.
allow us to feel everything. And then it's like once we get those energetics, those higher laws in place, and we're kind of cleaning out, our spirit, if you will, then it allows us to operate and express our law in this reality, because we each have our own law. But if it's not expressed, then it's implied that we're playing by the old governmental legal system, right?
Yeah.
And we can operate outside, like not only outside of it, but above and beyond it.
Like transcending those limiting like systems of belief and these lower, yeah, like, I kind of talk about like ego-based kind of systems that we're told we want to transcend. So I love that. And you're talking about universal laws, laws of the universe that are working that we need to start understanding in order to implement and to get these results in our life. So what do you, when someone comes to like your clients, like where are you seeing people like needing your help or your service? Like so let's say someone hears this and they're like really drawn to it, where do you take a client from like point A to point B, and like what kind of results, like what kind of time does it take? Like how do you really work with someone to achieve these kind of results? I'm curious.
It is this idea of radical self responsibility, right? So
Hmm.
and the kind of the three main components are the sacred self journey, right?
Okay.
The tools, everything we've talked about, detoxification, supplementation, nutrition, movement, meditation, breath work, right? So you're going to continue some aspect of that. And it really is an infinite journey. Like it shouldn't be like, okay, I did this for 3 months, now I'm done. It's like
Right.
it becomes your lifestyle, it becomes part of who you are and how you operate. The second is actually learning and understanding and being able to operate from the higher laws,
Yeah.
right? Being able to express that law and write notices and and again take this responsibility, instead of calling the cops or calling a lawyer saying, as a man, I'm going to express right now that what your actions are causing me harm. They're it feels like a wrong, and I want to lovingly hold you accountable and say, give you the opportunity to bring remedy to your trespass, to bring remedy to the controversy that you're causing me. But I can't do that if I'm not able to express it. So
Mm-hmm.
and then the kind of the final component is to do with things like travel and our businesses and stuff like that. So I'm supporting people in setting up, and I know this may be a taboo word for a lot of people, but church.
Oh,
Because
really? Okay.
it's not a religious thing. It's
Yeah.
and your faith can be in nature, right? So
Okay.
you set up your church, you set up a series of private trusts and a private trust web. Now all of a sudden, all of your money becomes property that is protected, that you control from the private, right? So it's like you go from owning things and having liabilities with governments and tax collection agencies and that sort of thing, to actually owning nothing but controlling everything from the private.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like we're able to create these layers and levels of protective barriers and mechanisms, to essentially create bridges to a new operating system, to a new world that really works for everyone. That's more abundant, more balanced, more whole. We're more connected, and we don't have these, kind of authority figures standing over us saying, "Oh, you can't do that, or you can't do
Yeah.
that. You owe us this." It's like, wait, how did this subset of people get control over all the rest of us? And
Right.
operating from the higher laws really starts to, you know, turn the inverse reality that we've been living in for such a long period of time. It right sizes the ship, brings this group back into public servants rather than authority figures that we've given our power away to, and says, no, actually, I got this. I'm going to operate with radical self responsibility, and I'm going to take ownership of all my stuff, and I'm going to expect you to do the same. And when we can't see some of our shadows at times, or some of those blind spots, then I'm going to lovingly reflect that back to you so that you have an opportunity to come to a correctness.
Amazing. I had no idea that your work went all into the, even the business or entrepreneurs who are trying to, build systems of, their financial and everything basically. It sounds like you can help people in a very holistic way, like mental, physical, financial, spiritual. So that's amazing. And is that why call it 5D breathwork? Because I know a question sometimes I get asked, or I'm looking at social media, everyone's talking about like our moving from our 3D to like 5D. And, can you tell us like, what does that really mean for you? Like when someone asks you that, what are we doing with these, like the 5D world, what are we trying to do here?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it is. I mean, it's kind of a marketing thing, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's true. At this time, we're moving, and it kind of goes back to what I said about the difference between the Newtonian model and the quantum model.
Hmm.
Newtonian is purely based on our senses. We're seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, touching the environment around us, and
Hmm.
oftentimes at the expense of what we want, and we're giving our power away to the external thing, person, or circumstances.
Yeah.
But the quantum model is like, no, I'm gonna turn that off, and I'm gonna become the creator. I'm gonna really think and feel and create that neurophysiological response and that evidence in the brain and body that that future potential exists. And I'm gonna optimize how I'm thinking and feeling, using and leveraging all of these tools, so that my cells can vibrate at a higher level, so that I can think more clearly, so that I can really kind of be a vibrational match to that which I'm thinking and feeling about.
Yeah. So yeah, you mentioned a couple of times it's the quantum model, which I've had a few guests on my show. And I know when I was doing my spiritual journey about, I would say a year or two ago, I started first hearing about, quantum, physics. And I mean, a lot of people will say, oh, that's like pseudoscience, right? It's like the quantum reality. What do you say to people when they don't understand, like, what is quantum physics? What does that even mean? Is it even real? Is it all just a bunch of pseudoscience, or what, do you get that question a lot?
It's actually a great question, but I would say just look at the science. Like there's, if you look at a high powered photographic microscope, if you put your finger underneath the microscope, you're not going to see your finger. You're going to see the cellular makeup, and in between the cells is like empty space. So literally everything comes from nothing. Like everything in our material world, and it said, like 99.999% of the material world is empty space. But we
Right.
spend all of our time focusing on the 0.00001 of a percent that we call matter, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
another way to look at it is, the light frequency. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are X-rays and sun rays and like, all kinds of different frequencies that are within and around us, but we're not perceiving those through our senses, right? Like
Right.
dogs can hear a whistle that we can't hear.
Oh yeah. Higher frequencies of sound. Yeah.
Well, so there are all these frequencies. There's all this proof around us. You can
Mm.
ignore it, and it's going to happen to you anyways, or you can tune into it and realize that it's all happening for you, right? And then take steps based on doing your best to really align and optimize, the mind, body, spirit that truly is you.
Yeah, amazing. And it sounds like these concepts are just, getting more and more awareness. And do you feel like there's something especially critical about this time in humanity? Like where, I hear things like we're experiencing the biggest consciousness awakening. And is there something very like almost mandatory or urgent about these times that we're in that you're seeing and that end up expressing to your clients or to people who ask you about this stuff?
Absolutely. I feel like we're at quite a precipice.
Mm-hmm.
And, in my travels, and I've been traveling for most of the last 8 years, 7.5 years. Um, and what I've seen and the world that I live in, and so many people that I'm around, is one of beauty, connection. There's no stress. There's so much flow. There's so much abundance, you know.
Mm,
And there's simultaneous this old world of like incredible fear and
right.
chaos and destruction, and the economies are breaking down, but it's not. It's the end of a period of time, not the end of the world, because another world, a new world, a beautiful world, is simultaneously here. And as
Amazing.
I said before, with like the Unified Alliance, and we're just creating bridges. We're creating bridges for the old paradigm and people from the old world to actually start to understand really who they are, and then be able to connect them with all of the solution providers that have the coaching and the retreats and the workshops and the technology to actually give people their own pieces of their own puzzle, to be like, wow, like I didn't realize I could feel this good. I didn't realize I could have this much energy. I didn't realize I could be this clear and focused. Wow, how can I add to this new world puzzle? Like what is it, like what are the things or that I'm most passionate about that I really want to bring to life? And so there's this whole new operating system. There's new economies that are about to be switched on.
Oh
That
my
I'm
gosh. Yeah.
there's land and community projects. Regeneration is a huge topic. Crypto and new economies, and like just all of the solutions are here from literally every sector of society. And all we're doing now is creating the bridges, not only for the solutions in the sectors to be able to clarify that picture, but then the bridge for people from the old world to actually cross into and find all of these solutions. And then, for me, the freedom, the law piece is kind of the last piece to say, okay, now we've got a new operating system. Let's actually take this over here so that the old one, is becomes completely obsolete.
Obsolete. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's like this is the talk we hear: break out of the matrix, move into 5D, move into new earth. It's like all of that messaging in the spirituality community. And becoming more widespread. So yeah, I definitely am hearing a lot of that just increasing in my own conversations and when I'm talking to people. So I love that you brought that in. And it sounds like you're doing this work pretty much full speed ahead. I know you have like you're also doing teacher training, so you're actually teaching people who are becoming teachers, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your main priorities, what you're working on these days in order to get these new systems activated?
Absolutely, yeah. So I've taken a number of new facilitators through the breathwork teacher training.
Mm.
From that, there's 5 of us now that are co-creating and building out the Breathwork Atrium. So it's an academy, which will have 2 tiers of membership. But then, the idea is to bring still more teachers into the teacher training so that we can, just really share this medicine. And it truly is medicine, the breath. And
Do you do
then,
all this in Mexico, or is it for anyone remote, or how do you do like handle people all over the world now?
yeah, that's remote. So
Mm.
do the courses are 6 weeks in length. Everything's recorded, so we use typically Zoom for
Amazing.
you can tune in from wherever. That you get all the kind of the bells and whistles and the information and the science behind it all, and then it's like, okay, go teach, spread this medicine. And then there's a pathway for the new teachers, if they so choose, to come through the Breathwork Atrium and actually become owners of the atrium. So
Oh,
it's kind of like, again, using an old world analogy, how a lawyer can go through their firm and become partner in the firm, or an accountant. Same idea with the Breathwork Atrium.
and so are you working primarily with people like who are already doing a certain amount of like healing work, or they're working with clients in different areas? I don't know, like they have different types of healers or practitioners. Is that who you're primarily seeing come to you for these kinds of programs and services, or are you also just working with anyone who I don't know, wants to heal their body, or what do you mostly seeing in terms of like the people who are most interested in this?
Mm. It's a yes and. I love yes and. Rather than, oh, let's not do that, let's do this. It's like, yes and. So it's kind of a simultaneous deep dive, and teacher training. So there are just a couple of added components that you would have to submit and go through, like recording and excuse me, starting to offer your own sessions, and so that becomes the teacher training component. But weeks 2 through 5 are very, very experiential, so it gives the participant a real experience of going through the breath themselves, and that's very transformative. So it's both. It's both the for the individual, and sometimes as somebody's going through their own process, not intending to teach, they decide like, okay, now I want to teach, right? So
Right.
people can kind of catch up with the videos that they have to submit and different things like that.
Yeah, I love that because I see a lot of people who are interested in, maybe doing spiritual work of some kind, but they don't they don't really know how to create, a future for themselves or what to do with it. Like, or they just start off healing their own, mind, body, soul issues, and then, but then they want to really have an avenue of where all this can go because they're investing so much time and energy, right, in this process. It takes some time, and so it's great that you have that resource, and you can build up and and then live in this new world without the stresses and with all this higher level reality. So I absolutely love that. Thank you. Yeah, is there anything else before we start to wrap here that you'd like to share with our listeners for today? Any last real words of that you'd like to convey to anyone who might be listening to our podcast today?
You know what? This actually just as I guess I anticipated this question, and it kind of popped in. I would love to share. Um, so about 6 weeks ago, what I call a Freedom Manifesto kind of came through.
Oh, wow.
It came through as a spoken word. So I would love to share that if
Oh, yeah. Amazing. Yes, please.
so I feel there are lots of kind of codes and unlocks in this because it was very emotional coming through for me. And what I shared before about kind of my journey and so I kind of set it up with that. Like the last year and a half, I was in Mexico and just really tuning in and being like, wait a minute, if I'm honest with myself, I'm not free. So
Mm,
and then this came forward. And after the poem was essentially like, okay, if the old world is built on kind of deceit and competition and a lot of these things, what would the operating system for a new world built on truth, collaboration, co-creation, what would that actually look like? And so there's this whole kind of blueprint that came through that I've turned into a white paper, a pitch deck. So we're from the highest fractal of operating system down to, okay, what's the infrastructure that we could actually build and the bridges that we can create to onboard people into the new system, the new operating system, radical self-responsibility, all the tools, and people, while changing the narrative with beautiful podcasts like yours and beautiful work like yours. What could that look like? So that's
amazing.
a
Yeah.
little facts there. That okay. So we could say then that freedom begins with free will, free choice, freedom to express without censorship, beyond the control, power, or authority of another. I will go further and declare that freedom to me is my ability to bring forward and embody freedom mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That is to say, truly showing up as one is, raw, whole, authentic. Without fear of judgment, neither fitting into expectation nor expecting anything in return. Breaking the mold, cutting through the old. Releasing, freeing, healing, being. Freedom is one's ability to show up from one's essence in purity, fully open and raw to share authentically and transparently on every level without masks or hesitation. Freedom is without fitting into societal roles, perceptions, or projections. No worries from external thoughts, expectations, or perspectives. Freedom is being heard, being seen, open-hearted, loving without barriers, discovering beyond boundaries, engaged in the art of free will expression beyond compare, to one's fullest expansion of one's highest self, beyond the illusion, uncensored into one's ability of deepest connection and conversation, to oneself, each other, and the planet. Profound, borderless, traveling where I choose, as I desire, away with imaginary lines, showing up fully, channeling the divine. A child of God, a conduit of source, speaking words of truth, nobly, humbly, shrouded in purity, grounded in playful curiosity, honorably. Freedom is play. Childlike innocence, awe-inspired no matter the age. Engaged at every opportunity in dance, living in this reality, each of us wrapped in true abundance. Embracing confidence as the fullest expression, the complete embodiment of the beings we were meant to be, the true kings and queens, the ones we've been waiting for. Yes, we are the ones. And if we are, I plant the seed and ask the question, are you truly free? If your answer is no, how can we make it so? The journey is deep, the chasm is vast. However, if we travel together, no gap is too wide, no journey too far, and it begins with a single step. If we're in it together, it's all for one and one for all, you see, because no one is free until each are free, and all are freeing each other. My brothers and sisters, let's just come together. As we remember, freedom is our birthright, and it is close at hand, it is truly in sight. But we must move through the fires of transformation to transmute the lineal transgressions and rewrite the story that we've been told, breaking the shackles of societal programs. Yes, we must break the mold. It's lawful, it's spiritual, it's true. It is said that the meek shall inherit the earth, and this is the journey to make it so. Our journey at this time. Are you ready to walk through the fires and read between the lines? And embrace freedom at every level, to embody freedom as the divine in form. I ask, are you ready? And if so, then let's go.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That was amazing. I have all of the chills, the goosey, inspiration, goosebumps. Wow, Lee, thank you. That you brought it full, complete circle back to everything we're here for. I mean, that was truly amazing. Thank you so much. What a beautiful poem and everything, that you offer on this episode today. I am so honored to have you as a guest and to have, a platform for you to share these things and for my audience to hear it. And wow, that was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for providing this platform, and just allowing me to share so openly and freely. Yeah, I really appreciate it, and thank you for everything that you're doing. In your own right, I feel like we've all got these pieces of this puzzle, right? And it's time to bring the pieces together so that we can clarify the picture for each other, for everyone.
Right. We have a big movement going on. It's all happening now. So yeah, you're a great guest today. I thank you so much for your time. And just one final thing, if anyone wants to reach out to you, where's your best social media contact, or where do you like people to go when they want to learn more about you and your work?
Yeah, you can connect on Instagram at 5D Breathwork.
Okay.
And then for more of the law freedom stuff, you can check out unifiedalliance.world.
Okay.
And for the breathwork and darkness and stuff like that, you can go to Lee-Davy, DAVY.com.
Perfect. Okay. And we will have all of that linked on today's episode at the bottom. And also our listeners can come to my website. All of the podcast and show information will be there. I'm at www.edinamovana.com. And yeah, thank you so much, Lee. This is Into the Light podcast. Thank you again for your time. And I'm so grateful. I hope we can hopefully have another episode in the future. You have so much to say and to offer everyone. I love it.
Thank you so much, Edina.
Thanks. Have a great day.